What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another About Teams video. And then today, we're going to recap last night's both interesting NBA games, to say the least. Kind of flip-flopping back and forth between Pacers, Knicks, and the Boston Bruins, Florida Panthers. Is that they were going on at the same time for the most part, so kind of hard to cover. But with that being said, kind of my key takeaways, I guess I'll go first. My first takeaway is the refs. And, I don't like being that guy. I really don't. I'm not even a Pacers fan. I really don't care who wins the series. I even picked the Knicks to win the series. But at the end of the game, when it's tied, the Knicks were leading by 2 at this point. I think it was like 119, 117.
Mm-hmm.
Tyrese Halliburton has the ball. They force a turnover on Jalen Brunson. They're going to take a three. Tyrese gets a screen from Miles Turner, and Miles Turner just moves a little bit. Dante DiVincenzo flops. He just got ran over by a car, and then they call an offensive foul. And it's like, I get it. Maybe he was moving, but how many times have we seen that call get played out so much? And then this is just why, it questions the NBA refs' integrity. Just like you make those call for this big market team, and that is such an important situation where the Knicks do it too. They're slightly moving every screen, and you're not calling it. Why call it all of a sudden now when the game's on the line? It just really pissed me off because this was a great basketball game. Otherwise, it was back and forth. Jalen Brunson, probably the MVP of this playoffs, was just unreal. Another 40-point game. I think that's like 5 in a row or something. He's just been so good for them, man. And it's been a great series to watch. And this game 1 was entertaining. The Pacers, they kind of did a little bit of everything. TJ McConnell, who won them that Bucks series in Game 6, had another huge game, I believe 18 points. Miles Turner contributed offensively. Tyrese Halliburton didn't do shit like always on offense, shooting the ball wise. I don't even know how many shots he took in this game. But it's just a frustrating way to end it. If I'm a Pacers fan, I'd be mad. The Knicks obviously coached up, even though the screen questionable DiVincenzo balled out for the Knicks, especially in the second half, had like 21 points alone in the second half. It was such a good game to watch, regardless of that, though. But what were your takeaways from this?
My takeaway is that going back to the point you made about refs shouldn't be making that call, I agree. And I think if that same play is taking place in Indiana, they're not making that call. But I think
6 shots taken from Tyrese Halliburton, a superstar player supposed to be.
I was going to add that. But I think the refs, there's a huge ref problem, obviously, with just how they try to control the game. We see ridiculous texts all the time now. But I think they also feel the pressure of the home crowd. And if they don't make that call, they know Knicks fans are going to go ballistic on them during the, even if it's a flop, and it was kind of a soft play, Miles Turner sort of leaned, but it wasn't anything it wasn't some sort of Draymond play where he's body checking.
No, it's something you see every play, every screens. There's slight movement, and then now you decide to call it. It's frustrating because the Knicks, otherwise, they were fighting back in this game. They have the grit. They never go away. They were down by 9 points at some points in the second half, and I think even early in the fourth. So credit to the Knicks. They're just so resilient. And if I'm an Indiana fan, this sucks. And it's kind of like if you stole this one and lead the series and have home court, maybe you could actually see a path to Indiana win the series, but kind of losing that heartbreaker. I don't see how they bounce back from this. I think this series is still going to be a 5-game, despite how close Game 1 was, just because I think there is a thing as moralizing losses, demoralizing losses for a team, and I think this is one of them.
See, I'm kind of on the other side of that. I think this game really shows the Pacers, hey, we can hang with this team and beat them, and we lost because of a bullshit call, of a call that, really shouldn't be called in the playoffs, like we just said. That happens every other screenplay. A guy's going like this, and they just so happen to flop and get the call. But this shows me if I'm on the Pacers and I'm a Pacers fan that we can hang around with the number 2 team in the East and potentially beat them on their home court. So I'm so excited to see how game 2 goes because I think Indiana is going to take game 2. But
Whoa.
that's a bold
Yeah,
prediction.
see, I don't know, man. Just some weird vibes with the Pacers right now.
They're
I don't
scrappy,
know.
man.
They are. They got some
They do not go away.
I can't believe the Celtics gave up on Aaron Nesmith like that because that dude can straight hoop. And there was another play late in the fourth. They call a kick ball on Nesmith when it just hit his hand. Like, what? That should be a turnover. So it was just overall bad officiating towards the end for the big market team. So no surprise there. But it can be taken one of two ways. Indiana can use this and, punch back, be like, we got screwed. Let's show them who we are. We can hang with this team. Or it can be taken as, like, shit, man, we lost that. Like, now, like, we blew that. We had in the bag. And it will be a test to how strong Indiana is mentally more than physically. I'm excited to see game 2. I'm excited to see how the Knicks bounce back because I know even though they won, they're not happy with this because many people like me think this is like a Knicks in 5 maximum 6-game series. But we'll see. I am excited for game 2, to say the least.
I mean, if Halliburton scores more than 6 points as arguably their best player, they're winning that game.
But Tyrese Halliburton, man, that fall off has been crazy.
Right? Like, I don't even. Is he just not confident? Like, I don't know. Is he not?
His 3-point shot wasn't going like it was, and now
I know he's on that awful streak where he was shooting like 10% from 3, which is like god awful. But I mean, you can't lose your confidence.
I mean, he was 2 for 5 from 3 yesterday, but only taking 6 shots. Like, how do you that's 40%? Like, man, keep shooting. Like, right. It's frustrating because if he doesn't show up at all and has another one like that, I guarantee you this game isn't close again in game 2, especially in New York. But we'll see. Whether or not, it sucks to end on some controversy like that, but, we'll see how game 2 goes. Maybe the refs give the Pacers some calls, but we'll see. Probably not.
I want to hear your take.
Let's get into the bread and butter. The bread and butter of the show, the Minnesota Timberwolves, without Rudy Gobert. Congratulations to Rudy on the birth of his child. But unfortunately had to miss this game. And when I heard that news, I thought we were screwed. I already thought Denver was going to come in with all the, pissed off after game 1, losing in their own building. Oh, like this, no Rudy Gobert. Like, all right, let's do it tonight. Like, they're shorthanded. Like, let's even the series up, at least head back to Minnesota because this is like a must-win game. But the exact opposite happened. Minnesota pounced on them early and kind of never looked back. They built up a lead as large as 32 points in this game, and it was from everyone. This was a team effort. Anthony Edwards did his thing, had a silent 27 points. Karl Anthony Towns, 27 points. Naz Reid, 4 3-pointers, all huge. Nickeil Alexander-Walker with 4 3-pointers of his own. But what isn't talked about enough was the defense everyone played tonight. This was a team defense. I mean, when you hold a team to 80 points in this league, that's very impressive. And the Timberwolves had the number 1 defense in the league for the reason. It was just it was fun to watch for me. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Jaden McDaniels just chasing around Jamal Murray, who was clearly frustrated all night. I think he shot 3 of 18. And part of it has to do with his injury. I know he's not 100%, but it's a credit to the defense. And Nikola Jokic only had like 15 points in this one or something like that, and only made 5 shots.
16 and 16.
Okay, yeah. And who's mainly guarding him? Karl Anthony Towns, who's been getting harassed, who prior to, I think, this season has been known as just an offensively skilled big that can't play defense. But he's flipped that narrative around. Like, he is a competent defender, and when he doesn't get into foul trouble, that he's one of the best in the league, best 2-way players. And Anthony Edwards, I think, is the best 2-way guard in the league. The way he's able to just score the ball at will and play clamps defense is so critical. And that's why I think the Nuggets have gone thrown off this whole series. You're not going to have like they're full court pressing the whole game. And I know I saw on Twitter, it's like the Timberwolves are defending like it's the final possession of a game. They're up one every possession, and it's wearing on a team that doesn't have much depth. And I think which was an advantage we knew going in the Timberwolves depth with Nickeil Alexander-Walker, 6 Man of the Year, Naz Reid, and now you're Minnesota. You're up 2-0, heading back home. If I'm Denver, next game isn't until Friday. I don't know what's up with the scheduling. How have the Celtics and Cavs not played a game and we've played two, and then we get 4 days off. It doesn't make sense. But if Denver, you gotta make adjustments, and I know they'll have a counterpunch of some sort, but I don't know how much they got left in them with how little with how injured they are, and how little depth they have to really go to in this series. But what are your takeaways from this?
Well, just off rip, I'm looking at the box score here and the defensive stats for the Timberwolves: 11 steals, and I think 13 blocks. 1, 2, 3. 4.
It was a block party.
Yeah, I mean Naz Reid had 4 blocks.
You saw that.
Alexander Walker had 3. Like they really embarrassed the Nuggets on their home court again. I'm shocked. I was picking the Nuggets, and the Timberwolves are very, very quickly changing my pick.
No one listened to me in school, man. When I told everyone this team is no one listens.
It seems like Ant Edwards literally gets better every single game. Like it's insane to see how quickly he develops. How old is he? 22.
Yeah, but he's playing like a 27-year-old veteran,
playing like MJ
or MJ. Yeah, like MJ, like a Kobe, like he's been there, and he's not forcing shots. He was very efficient yesterday. Wasn't taking contested step back 3-pointers. Was just making the right decision, getting it to his guys, and doing this all without the soon-to-be 4-time Defensive Player of the Year in Rudy Gobert. It was very impressive. And obviously you have the Twitter haters saying, "Oh, this shows that Rudy isn't the Defensive Player of the Year," given how they played without him. But it just shows, I think, how bought in everyone is to this team, and it's they're not gonna win with their offense by scoring 130 points like the Golden State Warriors. But like Kevin Garnett tweeted, this is that Warriors offense with KD Curry, but on defense, it's must-see defense because it's they look like the 04 Pistons out there. It's been a joy to watch so far. And like I said, I know the Nuggets will have a counterpunch soon, but if you're from Minnesota, you go back home to those fans, raucous atmosphere. I'm excited to watch that.
Yeah. I think both games in Minnesota are must win for the Nuggets. You can't go down 3-1. You can't go down. Obviously you can't lose both, but I think the Nuggets need to win both games to have a chance at this series.
Yeah, if I'm Minnesota, I'm looking just for at least one. You're on home court, but you just don't want to give it up. At least win one to make sure you're solid. But it's been a fun time to watch, to say the least, and I've enjoyed it. So we'll see. Don't want to get too much into the future, but it's been exciting so far. And as a Timberwolves fan, this is uncharted territory. I've never seen them make it out of the first round, never mind competing in the second round. So it's been exciting. 6-0 so far in the playoffs too. Haven't lost a playoff yet.
One more thing we should touch on. Do you think Wemby's Rookie of the Year, unanimous Rookie of the Year, is deserved, or you think Chet should have gotten some votes, or you think Chet should have won it? I mean, I'm a big Wemby guy, so I think he 100% deserved it.
It's tough, for my opinion, because it frustrates me how much sometimes people value winning for certain awards and how much sometimes people don't value winning at all. I think Wemby obviously was the best rookie this year. I probably would have picked him. But if you're looking at Chet was a starter on one of the best – was on the starter on the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. And he was putting up 17 points per game, playing great defense, and he transformed this team from a 10 seed. Because Shai Gilgeous-Alexander last year was averaging 31 points a game. It's not like he really elevated a whole lot more on the offensive end. He's been the great player he is. But when you bring in Chet and go from a 10 seed to a 1 seed, obviously the development of some other players helped with that. But his impact on winning, I think, was kind of underappreciated this year. And I think if I was him, like, he definitely deserved some votes. But I think when you push the Wemby agenda, and Wemby deserved it, he balled out. But I feel like Chet kind of went unrecognized in a year where it was two great players, and one was obviously better than the other, but one impacted winning more than the other. It kind of just frustrates me, like I said, with the balance on winning. Sometimes winning impacts this award, but doesn't this award, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think they should either decide that winning is a big factor in all the awards or none of the awards. And I know you're big because I know we've talked about it at school, and I still believe that Wemby should be the defensive player of the year. And I know you're big on Gobert being on.
Oh my gosh,
Gobert has a fantastic defensive team, but when we're talking about defensive player of the year, I think it's hard to say.
I'm sorry, the defensive player of the year cannot be on like the last place team in the Western Conference and win. That's like being the best. That's like us being the best player on a U8 team. Like, it just doesn't matter, man. Like, you gotta impact winning on defense. Like, it's gotta go to the best player on one of the best defensive teams.
Do you think Wemby would impact winning more on the Timberwolves than Gobert does on the Timberwolves?
Depends how you look at it.
Like 3 blocks a game, 2 steals a game, something like that, something close to that.
Yeah, you can look at those, but like, it's like those blocks Wemby gets is because like the players in front of him are allowing they're allowing players just to beat him, and Wemby's great at blocking, so he gets those blocks. But Rudy Gobert, it's not his fault that he has elite players in front of him. He's still great at protecting the rim.
That's on the counter side of that. It's not Wemby's fault that he's got bad players in front of him.
Yeah, but when you're on the court and your defense is ranked like it is 22nd in the league or something, you can't just dismiss that. Like, you gotta, because Rudy benefited from the Utah days of being the best defensive player on a not so great like defensive team in front of him, like Donovan Mitchell. They were kind of just all letting him flood by. Eventually, it kind of gets exposed, as we saw in the playoffs that year with the Clippers. I think it's more so not just a Rudy award. It should be like a team award, because I think he's anchored the best defense because he's still great at the rim. The numbers show that. And if you give Wemby the defensive player of the year for like a last place team, I just don't see it. And even Wemby himself said, like, Rudy can have it this year. I'm not gonna like lose it after like next year or something. Like, Wemby is gonna win multiple defensive player of the years because he's just that good. But if you're giving last place awards, then where is the value of winning in any of these awards?
Yeah, you make a good point. I can definitely see where you stand.
But
I guess we're just agree to disagree. I mean, I do agree with you also that anchoring the best defense in the league is huge. Like, for any sport, anchoring the best defense in the league should earn you the respect of a Defensive Player of the Year award. Even if you don't win it, get votes. Like, show the person that what they're doing.
I'll just say this. I'll end my statement with this. If people want to give the award to Wemby, Defensive Player of the Year, that's fine. But I know the Timberwolves are focused on something bigger here. We're focused on that Larry O'Brien trophy. So, the Defensive Player of the Year award will mean nothing once we have that trophy in our hands. So, and I think that's the more important trophy. So that's my case. That's my case.
You're on pace.
So
16 still in the cards.
Yeah. Oh man, that'd be something. But yeah. So with that being said, I think that'll wrap up this NBA recap. We got a couple games tonight. Mavericks Thunder. Celtics Cavaliers, which would be exciting.
Yep.
But all right, with that being said, thank you all for listening. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.